Hey everybody, Mary Transformed here, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Collectors Club exclusive Ramjet. Now, if you don't know what TFCC is, I'm not really going to go into the full detail of what everything Transformers Collectors Club did, but mainly they released figures that were kind of their own exclusives that were usually remolds or repaints of figures that were already out, but very well done. As you can see, there's a lot of paint on this figure. TFCC figures usually come in these very nice boxes, which I'll show right here. This one doesn't have a cover art, some of them do. Like I know Nova Prime has a really nice cover art box, but you open it up and you do have this very nice like cushion that the toys usually sit in. It's like it's very nice and professional. Very high grade kind of boxes compared to Hasbro and Takara even. And you do get this little character sheet, you know. It shows his stats, shows a nice little illustration of him. You got a little bio here. I'm not sure if my camera's going to pick up on that, but there is a bio. It does come with a little bio here. It comes with his instructions. All very nice stuff. Not all the TFCC boxes are like this. I know Depth Charge kind of came in a more standard Generations box, but that was also because he was like 2011. Ramjet here was released in 2016. Now Ramjet here is a reused or a remold of the Armada Starscream from the Thrilling 30 line. As you can see here for a size comparison, or more of a paint comparison more than anything. Originally, there was the original Armada Starscream was actually remolded into a, well, first off, it was remolded into Skywarp, who had a different head, and in Ramjet, there was a figure called Universe Ramjet, who reused the Skywarp mold, and came with like a set of 4 mini-cons. And that's basically what TFCC did here, because with the Armada Starscream, we got the much more show-accurate one from Takara, then we got the Thundercracker from Takara, and then TFCC released a Skywarp that had a remolded head. And of course, since we got Skywarp, I guess TFCC figured why not go into a Ramjet as well. So that's what Ramjet is here. He was actually on clearance on TFCC. I'm not sure if it's still on clearance, but I was able to get him for only $13. Which is really not bad, because that's one of the infamous things about TFCC is it's going to be pricey. The paint and the new molding and the really nice boxes come at a price. Normally, I think this guy was about $30, $40, but I was able to get him for $13, so about a normal price of a deluxe. And you can see he is much more heavily painted than the Generations under Armada here. I'm not sure if this underpiece here, because I know on the Armada one, it's rubber on the bottom. Here it's definitely a lot stiffer, but it definitely feels different from the rest of the plastic, so I'm not sure if it's like a special PVC or what. It definitely feels a little softer, but it's not as soft as the rubber as Starscream. So I'm not sure what they used there, but you can see he has like a frosted little cockpit there. As far as paint, the blue right here is all painted. The silver on the wings is painted, as well as the blue here. The blue on the front of the thrusters here is painted. Oh, it's slightly chipped in the corners there. The little fin here, the little tail fin up here, not tail fin, top fin here is painted silver. There's some nice white here on the back here. I don't think these are painted. I think these are actually just red polo helmet. There's something like white there. So I think these are actually painted red. I'm not 100% sure though until I transform them. But yeah, he is basically the same as the Armada Starscream. The only difference is the head. The transformation is also slightly different, as the head on the original just folded down, while here it's kind of facing forward. So he's actually using the ball joint to kind of, like, just to see you kind of have, instead of like Starscream where he just simply lays flat down, you actually have to push his head back and then fold it in. And now give him the little tail fin sticking out. Which is a reused thing from Skywarp, so it's a pretty okay little thing. His gimmicks are all the same. He does still have the swords underneath. He does still have 4 mini-con ports. He does still have the weapons, which have an extended mode, now in red instead of yellow. And then one more push, and you'll have the missile out. The only thing that kind of stinks about this is the back pieces are here are still in clear plastic, which don't really like to mess around with them much, because I'm worried about them cracking on such a not expensive figure. I mean, he's only about $30, but still a lot more rare than his original Armada counterpart. He does still have all the landing gear, so everything about him is really still the same, just colors and a new head. Lots of paint though, lots and lots of paint, which is really nice. So let's get down to transformation, which as I mentioned is mostly the same. I'm going to take the landing gear, and you're going to go ahead and fold it up. I will be kind of skimming through this since I have already covered this with the Armada Starscream. First thing you want to do is take the arms and untab them from the underside of the wings. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. I noticed that he's not... The original Armada Starscream had a weird curvature to him. Like, if you hold this part straight, you can see it kind of curves down with the nose cone. It's kind of got this weird curve to it. Ramjet definitely still has it, but it's not as, it's a little bit more straight. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but it's kind of got a little bit more straight than the curve that Starscream has. Maybe it has something to do with the head or something, or how far up this folds up, but not sure. But he does have that weird thing going on. But as I mentioned, go ahead and untab the arms. Oh, might pop the sword off. But untab the arms, bring them down. Same over here. And go ahead and flip out the hands just to go ahead and do it. You can already see there's a lot more paint on the arms and such. You'll see the same thing on the legs. Go ahead and flip out the legs. Here you want to twist them, point them forward. The fins will collapse into the legs. And those white, yeah, okay, so these are painted red. That's pretty nice. There's a lot of nice little paint details on him. Flip the foot forward, and you're going to want to flip the heel out. It can be kind of hard to get to, but you can do it. Just need more nails than I do. I don't got much nails. But yeah, same on your side. Flip out the heel. And you're going to get him standing up. Let's bring the camera up. Oh, just the lighting a little. There we go. Go ahead and flip this little panel out. Just kind of stick it straight out. And now allow you to collapse this whole top section down. And now automatically push the head out so you can go ahead and face that forward. Take the nose cone, and since these are not rubber anymore, they're a lot easier to peg into the little crotch piece here. So you are going to want to do that, and it will peg together rather snugly. Then flip the wings up, and then, you know, if you want to leave the jet type, you want to push them down, I'll go ahead and flip them down just for part of the transformation. And there you have TFCC Ramjet in his robot mode. Now, we have him in robot mode. Let's go ahead and get a comparison out of the way. You can see him next to the Armada Generation Starscream. And you see a lot more details are sticking out. As the sculpting itself, except for the head, is exactly the same as Starscream here, but you can see a lot of the details pop more because of all the paint. Starscream, because of his black and gray, a lot of the details kind of get washed out. Right here, you can see him stick out a lot more with the blue on the inside here, kind of showing a little venting detail, a little sculpting. Especially on the inside here, where you can actually see these like rectangle patterns going on. There's like a little split here. And yeah, all that is painted. I believe it's the white part that's painted. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's the white part because it's a blue plastic. But yeah, all that's painted. The red fin is painted, you know. The arms here are also painted with some blue here because it's white plastic. So to kind of show more of this arm detail. Same all throughout the chest here. And the paint does extend back on the nose cone a bit more on his jet front here. And as I mentioned, you know, you do have the square bit sticking out more. You do have the edge of the wing more sticking out a little better. And then we get to the new head sculpt, which I'm kind of mixed about. I do like the idea behind it, as if you look, I don't think I can show it on the camera. My camera's not going to pick up as good, but what it's meant to be is kind of have like a jack-o'-lantern face with like the yellow part of his mouth meant to be like a sunken in kind of twisted grin. Very similar to animated Blitzwing's crazy face, the black face with the red jack-o'-lantern glow to it. But because of how it's sculpted, it kind of comes off as more just an extended mouth cover. It's kind of weird. It almost just looks like he has a normal mouth underneath. Like that's just like his top jaw's black, his bottom jaw's yellow. So it doesn't come off quite right. The paint on it's pretty nice. You do have a red plastic here, and it does have silver on the top here. Some little blue for the crest there. Yellow for the eyes and the mouth, and then black for the kind of middle of the face. But because of how it's sculpted, you really can't see it as like a sunken look. They really should have had it sink in a bit more. Kind of like how his eyes sink in a bit. To kind of give that more of the effect of it being an open kind of jack-o'-lantern grin. Because otherwise it kind of just looks like he either has two lips or just a weird mouth cover. So unfortunately, I didn't quite get the effect off. However, everything else, I don't have the Universe Ramjet, but I have seen pictures of it, and this is very, very accurate to what he looked like. As accurate as the Takara Starscream is to the Armada Starscream. And it just looks very nice. Plus, the gray plastic he used here does help the details pop, as the red they used on Starscream kind of blots out some of the details in the arms and legs. Well, here you can kind of see like the piston details a bit better on the arms. Some of the deep venting detail on the legs sticks out, pops out a lot more. Even the detail in the clear plastic pops out a little bit more because of the kind of frosted gray they use. Now, as mentioned, he does still have all the same gimmicks as Starscream. You can still take the cannons and flip them forward. Once again, you could have the loaded mode, and then finally one more click will send the missile flying out, if you so prefer. And you can leave the cans just sticking straight up, although you're still going to have the same back kibble issues. But, you know, if you want a more accurate look, you can have them with the cans up. But I prefer to kind of keep them down. And he does still have the swords that fold out from the wing, like so. And if you want a completely accurate look, since the original toy, its sword was its wing, you can still fold down like a wing to give him the kind of one wing look that the original toy had. And he does have two swords, but we're only going to show one because they are kind of tight from the hold, and I really don't want the clear plastic breaking. That's the one thing that kind of worries me about all this clear plastic. Starscream I don't worry about as much because he's, you know, Starscream. I can get another one for about $10. This guy though, replacement one would be about $30, and I'd rather not pay that. So yeah, I'm very careful about his swords. But you know, he can still hold both like the original, so the gimmick is still there. Articulation wise, he actually has a bit better articulation than the original because his head's actually ball jointed now due to transformation. Because it can swivel all the way around, but it can also look straight up. Just flat straight up if you want. So you can also just have it at an angle. And you can look down a little bit if you dip in the little piece that his head's sitting on. The wings are ball jointed, they go back and they can turn, so you can kind of have them folded up like this. Or you can have them folded straight down if you prefer. What you can do with that. The arms do have universal movement, but you can rotate them forward. You can also use this piece to move them outward, and it's got that same effect that the original one does, where it kind of fills in the gap. Not too far, but it does fill in enough to where if you have your arm out this far, it doesn't look like it's just invisible floating. You do get a swivel, but it's very tight. You do get the 90-degree elbow, no movement at the hands, unfortunately. Hip movement is forward, and it can go back, but you have to move the cans out of the way to really make good use of it. But it does go that far back. You get a swivel. You're really going to need a transformation. I mean, that is 180 degrees, I guess. Yeah, 180 degrees, like 170 degrees of movement. And then you still have some ankle movement, both forward and backward. So you can get some poses out of him if you wish. So yeah, like I said, still got the same good articulation from the original with the included of the head now being ball jointed instead. Still got all the gimmicks, still got some really nice details, just all of them pop a lot more detail in it. My only real complaint with this figure is the head, just because of how it's sculpted. I wish the fin on top was a little bit thinner. I know that would make a really thin plastic would easily, you know, break, but it's just with it this thick, it makes it look like a big old antenna just sticking out of his head. Looks a little odd. And secondly, with the head, I wish the mouth was a bit more sunken in to actually give like an open mouth look is all. So, but overall, I think he's a really nice figure. He's definitely one of the cheaper TFCC figures you can find online. Like I said, he's only about $30. And if you do like the Generation Starscream mold, well, there's also the Skywarp, which uses the same mold as this one with the same head sculpt, I believe. So between those, you might find your actually, I think the Skywarp one has more of a mouth plate look to it, but still, if you like the overall look but want different colors, there is the Skywarp one. If you want there is the Thundercracker from Takara, so there's a lot of versions of this mold out there, but if you want something a bit more unique in your collection, I think Ramjet's a pretty nice choice. I do like the mix of the white and the blue with the little hints of red and gray. It looks very nice on him. And overall, I think he's still a really great figure. So, this has been Very Transformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and hope you have a good day. Take care.